beautiful people, the Key Climbing family. I hope everybody's blessed, well, and healthy, and that nothing but the best is going on in all you guys' life, man. Oh man, we have an amazing video today, and I feel like this would be pretty cool because we have a lot of amazing veterans on the channel, and y'all know how I feel about my veterans, how I feel about anyone that's ever served in the armed forces, man. Salute, love, respect to anyone that's ever served, man. And I want to send my condolences and love to the families of the passing of our soldiers, man. But Jarrell sent this in to me, and this is Navy SEALs spills all the beans on what attacked them. And I read a comment I want to just share real quick, and this is from Michael, and Michael says, "Those of us with common sense already know this. It's disgusting how secret our government really is. We pay their salaries all the way up the chain, but yet get to know nothing." Okay, so this is Navy SEALs spills the beans on what attacked them. So let's take this one in, y'all. And again, shout out to my brother Jarrell, who's also a veteran. Once again, it always sends me an amazing emails and video request ideas to post on the channel. So salute to Jarrell. And let's get into this bad boy, man.
Something happened to me that I'm not supposed to tell you about. I've been torn about this for some time. As a Navy SEAL, I feel bound to do what is right to protect people, but I also need to ensure I don't go too far. So I can tell you what happened to me, but I can't tell you too many specific details about the operation or mention any procedures in particular either. It's too risky to put that out onto the internet. You never know who might hear it.
Wow.
Still, there's a threat out there that nobody wants you to know about, and nobody knows what to do about it. There's a small island that nobody really ever steps foot on. It's a tough place to reach, with nothing of any value there, so it's mainly left untouched. Every now and then, one of our vessels will sail past it for various reasons. One day, as the vessel passed it, everything on board lost power. A team was sent out to get the Navy SEALs from the ship. They reported that it was as if an EMP had gone off. So, a team was sent to drop onto the island and see if we could determine the cause. We were concerned that somebody was on the island that shouldn't have been. It was a pretty routine procedure. I was part of the team sent to check out the island. We were a small team, but we worked well together. We combed the island, but quickly learned that it would be trickier than we thought because none of our compasses would function correctly. I remember that the air felt odd, as if it was cold and hot against our skin simultaneously. The air was heavy and I was quickly out of breath, which is not typical for a Navy SEAL. But we pushed forward and decided to start on one end of the island and comb the area, turning back at the end and checking any place that might have gone unchecked. We were about 2/3 of the way across and in an area of dense trees when something felt off. It felt like someone was watching me, and I'm never wrong about that. So I stopped and motioned for the rest of the men to stay quiet. I looked around carefully and saw nothing. Then I looked up into the trees. At first I didn't see anything, but I could still feel eyes on me. A large dog-like creature jumped out of the tree the following moment and landed next to one of my teammates. On all fours, it was almost eye level with him. He immediately stepped back and aimed his weapon at the animal's head. The animal then stood up on its hind legs and must have been 7 feet tall. All of us had our guns raised. The animal moved so fast that before we even registered that it had transferred, it had pushed my teammate to the ground. There was no more time to waste, so I fired my weapon. I hit the animal in the leg, and it let out a shrill scream. The scream sent a shockwave through the area. I felt like it emanated through my chest. So my teammate took another shot at it, and that bullet went right through the animal's head. The animal slumped to the ground, and we approached to take a closer look. It was no animal that I'd ever seen,
Oh,
It
man.
was large and skinny, and its legs looked abnormally long. It seemed to have cat claws instead of dog paws, but it definitely had a dog's head. At that point, one of my teammates alerted us to his compass had started working again. We had
Y'all know it's been a lot of stories that really that can't be disclosed to us about. There's a lot of creatures they've actually found that they don't want us to know about, man. Like, because it's like a rare type of thing. I was just reading on this not long ago, man. Actually, I believe Susan sent me one of the article about that, and it was pretty crazy, man. But there's a lot of stuff we don't know about. But this is pretty pretty intense right now. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, and a lot of people I was reading the comments, and a lot of people say this is this is actually real. Yeah. Shout out to my Navy SEALs, man.
portable stretcher with us, so we loaded the creature, and half of us carried it back to the extraction point, while the other half of the team finished checking the island for any possible EMP devices or unwelcome persons. The animal was extracted, and by the time we landed back at base, a team of people was already waiting for us. After the animal was confined in a cage and removed, no one talked about it again. But as far as I understand, there was never any abnormal activity on that island again. As I understand it, it means that the animal has been the cause of the power loss to the vessel, and our compass is acting strangely. Somehow,
Pretty
it
weird.
emitted an immense amount of power from its body. I felt it when it screamed, and the shockwave traveled through my chest. I can't believe that it's the only one of its kind, and I don't know how it wound up on that island. But I do know that something like that is hazardous.
Oh, wow. Story 2. Okay, it's another story.
I was part of a team of Navy SEALs sent to extract something from a remote part of the world. We didn't know much, only that we were collecting something potentially dangerous from one of the labs there. We were told not to ask about it and not to know what it was, only to collect it and bring it back to the US. We went out to Antarctica, but we couldn't leave as soon as we had liked, as the weather turned bad, so we needed to stay there for a night, until the next day when we could leave. Our vessel was ready to leave the next day if the weather permitted. The scientists asked us not to go on the ship, as they had secured the item for extraction. We checked with our superiors who agreed, and we followed orders. The scientists were there for a while, then disembarked and carried on with their work. I couldn't help but notice that some looked a little nervous. Now, we were told that if we asked questions or pried, our jobs would be at stake. Being a Navy SEAL had put me through a lot, and I wasn't in the best mental state at the time. I was depressed and struggling with the beginnings of PTSD. In short, I no longer loved my job as much as I once did. So that night, we were bored and trying to find ways to keep ourselves occupied. We took turns speculating what was in the crate they had loaded. It had been a large metal crate with small holes in it. We couldn't see inside it, but it sure had our curiosity. So one of my teammates dared me to go and take a look. We knew there was risk involved, but at the time, I no longer worried that I might lose my job. So, cold and bored, I said I would look. Granted, 1 or 2 people tried to stop me, but I didn't listen. I went to where the item was being stored and saw it had a sheet over it. I pulled the sheet off and exposed the metal box. The crate was more extensive than I had initially thought. It was the size of a small room. I bent down and peered through one of the holes. To this day, I wish I hadn't, because what I saw changed my life forever. In the far corner of the room was an animal, and it was in horrible shape. I could see marks where needles and scalpels had gone through the skin. Patches of fur had been shaved off, and it looked awfully malnourished. Its fur was pitch black, and it had bright eyes that seemed to glow despite me not shining a light onto them. It looked like it had been drugged, but not enough to make it fall asleep. The creature whimpered in the corner and then bared its teeth at me. It seemed to have multiple rows of sharp teeth, similar to those often found in sharks. It tried to stand up, but fell over with a loud thud. But in a brief moment it stood up. I understood its proper size. It stood larger than any bear I know of. Then it pushed itself into a corner again, as if to try and hide from me.
What?
But this time, the whimpering changed into something else. It sounded just like a man was sobbing.
Oh, man.
As if somewhere, deep beneath all that fur and gigantic body, was a man who was afraid.
Oh.
It scared the hell out of me. I understand why it was meant to be such a secret. Not only was it a strange animal that nobody knew existed yet, but it had clearly been treated quite badly. And that is precisely what the Navy scientists try to keep hush. I returned to the rest of the team and lied to them. Told them I decided not to look in the end. I wish I hadn't. The next day we set back for the US, and I didn't sleep much on that trip. When we returned to the base, my superiors were already waiting for me. They had installed cameras inside and around the crate to ensure nobody would snoop. They threatened me with legal action if I ever spoke of it, and I lost my job. But I was relieved. What I saw that day completely ruined what little love I had left for my job as a Navy SEAL. It sounds terrible, but it's real, and it has taken me many years to feel okay with that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, man, it's getting a little dark and deep, ain't it? A lot
I'm
of
getting
secrets.
close to turning 50 now. I was a Navy SEAL for many years. Obviously, I'm not retired.
Thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. And thank you for your service to our veterans watching. Yes, indeed. But man, I got chills. Y'all got chills. I don't know, man. I got chills, man. They be, y'all know they be hiding stuff, man. They be hiding stuff. This world is deep and dark, man. A lot of stuff behind closed doors. But y'all know who be exposing this stuff though? Them people that don't know no better over there across the seas and in different countries. They pull out their phone and y'all be seeing them weird looking animals and fish they be finding for the first time, and them slugs and them y'all seen that? It was a bear they posted a day before yesterday. Was it yesterday? On my Instagram, on my Twitter Instagram page. That bear, it was one of them cool looking bears. I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life. Yeah, and they taking pictures of it, making it dance and all kind of stuff. Yeah. Hey, man. This world is crazy, man. It's deep, man.
Generally speaking, having a job that I loved so much was the best thing in the world. I never married and never had children. My career took up all my time, and I dedicated my life to my country. But my country is not only composed of its military operations. Since retirement, I've made new friends, and those friends have families. I realize that the people of this country are far more critical than those who run it. I don't think I have much more time left on this earth. Cancer threatens to take my life, and I grow weaker each year.
Oh, wow.
I think it's time that I tell you all that
and we know what's crazy. We have a couple of veterans on the channel we've actually gotten to lift up as their cancer survivors, and we just lifted up a veteran month before last, as he had just finished up his last chemo treatment, and he is cancer free now. Wow, man. My heart goes out to whoever is behind this this voice talking.
there are things out there that the government is hiding from you and intends to hide from you forever.
Forever, of course. Of course.
I'm referring to stories that have been repeated for as long as anyone can remember and can be found online. The government wants you to think that they're nothing but fantasy, but those threats are real, and people have died.
Yeah.
And I've seen one of these threats firsthand.
Wow.
I was a young lad just starting my career when we were sent to do a nighttime training exercise. Those had always been my favorite, as I loved to see how far I could push the limits of my own body. We were sent to a national park that was frequently used for training. Throughout sections of the park, items were scattered and hidden, which we needed to retrieve using intel given to us by our superiors. We had a time limit and needed to return those items quickly. There were rewards given if you made a good time. That night, I was after one of those rewards. So when the time came, I raced into the park to retrieve the item I was tasked with. I used my information and narrowed my search to one particular area. It was an area of the park that I was unfamiliar with, but I had always been good at those exercises, and I found the item I was meant to extract rather quickly. There was a large black box stashed up in the trees. It was covered with leaves and stuff to obscure it, but I knew its shape wasn't natural. Eager for a reward, I climbed up the tree as fast as possible to get it. I had to climb relatively high. I got to the item and realized it was too heavy and too large to carry down the tree with me. So I tied a rope around it and lowered it to the ground. But as I was dropping it, a movement caught my eye. I stopped in the dark to listen, the box hovering halfway through the air. I didn't hear anything, but I was confident I could see some movement. I searched for my flashlight and checked the ground below me. What I saw was a large white animal. It had the shape of a greyhound, but it was even more prominent than a greyhound. As soon as my light touched it, it shot its head up and looked at me. It had an odd face. It had orange-colored eyes and an enormous mouth. It seemed to be missing a nose and was breathing through its mouth.
Oh, wow.
It looked disturbed by my presence there. I was grateful to be up in a tree and safe, but I was frustrated as this thing was taking up time. Before I could think of a way to chase it away, I kid you not, this thing started climbing up the tree.
Oh, wow.
I don't know of any breed of dog that can do that. It also seemed to do so effortlessly and quickly. I needed to think fast as I could no longer go back down the way I came up. So I did the only thing I could think of. I jumped. It was a far jump, but it landed well enough. Only I heard the thing jump down behind me too. So I took off running as fast as possible with the heavy box in my arms. At one point, I came across another seal who was also making his way back to our superior. He looked over at me and went pale. "What is that?" he called. I told him to keep running.
Oh, man.
Eventually, the creature backed off as we reached the edge of the tree line. Neither of us knew what that was, but when we tried to mention it, we were told we would never repeat it if we valued our careers.
And then look at this video here. Bro, y'all, I know y'all seen them aliens recently, these past couple of months. There has been sightings of aliens. Yeah, man. I'm scared. But salute to anyone that's ever served, man. There's a lot of weird stuff that is going on, and like I say, people do not want to lose their job. People don't want to put their life at risk, and they just gone shut up. Just gone zip your mouth. Yeah. But I'm telling you, you get the wrong person on here. The wrong person, all they is title telling, pulling a phone out, recording it, posting it on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, MySpace. They putting it on everything. Yeah. Damn, TMZ gonna get it. Yeah. TMZ gotta for sure get it. But man, Texas man released the clearest footage of what landed on his roof. Hey man, that's some, and you know what's crazy? I've been hearing about that story for the last couple, like the last two 2-3 weeks, man. I'm not gonna lie. Aliens is falling out of the sky, and somebody got to go to jail. I love y'all, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think about that video, about those stories. Again, to anyone who's ever served, thank you. And I've heard similar stories like this, and a lot of people say these stories are actually real, and the government, of course, is gonna hide a lot of stuff from us. A lot of stuff right now as we speak are being done behind closed doors. That's just how the world works. That's how money is circulated through the population and keep everybody controlled and civilized. That's how this world works. If you're asleep and don't understand, it's okay. Just stay asleep. Yeah. Just stay asleep. Don't wake up. Don't say you woke. Just stay asleep. You know what I'm saying? I love y'all, man. Y'all have a blessed, beautiful day. Salute to all my veterans on the channel. Salute to anyone that's ever served in the armed forces. We love you. Thank you. Thank you for your service. And we want to send our love and condolences to the ones that have passed away and gone too early, man. And hey, I will catch y'all in the next one, man. Peace and love, y'all.